Hi, in this lesson we're going to be learning I'm Gonna Miss Her by Brad Paisley. Okay, the first thing you need to know is it is a half step down. So if you want to play along with the recording, you got to tune your guitar a half step down. If you're not playing along with the recording, then you can play in standard tuning. It's basically played the same way, but I am tuned a half step down. Chords you're going to need to know, it's based in the key of G. So we're going to need G and C and D and A7 and E minor and maybe a couple other little chords and variations of those chords along the way. So the intro to this song is pretty much the hardest part. Okay, so we're going to start. It starts with a G. If you want to play it exactly like he does, you're going to have to play a G bar chord with the root on the low E string, just like this. And he kind of finger picks it. You're going to have to kind of finger pick the intro. So he starts with this little hammer on within the chord. So I'm going to pick the low E string with my thumb, and I'm going to pick the D and G strings with my first and second finger. And I'm going to pick those together, but I'm going to start with my second finger off of the chord. And then I'm going to hammer it down. Just like that. Then he picks the G string again, and then the high E string. Just like that. Then he goes, now we're going to go to like we were playing a G major chord, but we're going to do this little walk up. So I want you to put your pinky on the third fret of the high E string and your third finger on the third fret of the B string. And we're going to do, with our thumb, we're going to pick the A string. Then we're going to hammer on the first fret of the A string and then slide up to the second fret of the A string. And then we're going to pick the G and then the B and E strings. So it's so that's basically, that's a G chord with a B, the second fret here, on the bottom. So the third is on the bottom. So we got one more time. Okay. Then we're going to go to a C. It's a C chord, but you're going to play it like you're playing a C dominant 7 chord with the root on the A string. Like this. And we're going to pick A string, D string, and then we're going to pick the B string, but we're going to hammer down our pinky on the 5th fret of the B string. Then we're going to hit the high E string. So it goes. Then we go to a D, but we don't play the third. We don't play the high E string. So I'm just picking D string, G string, B string. So that goes. Then I'm going to move back here and I'm going to play the first fret of the B string with my first finger, kind of insinuating a D7 chord. So, okay. So that whole first part is and then we kind of go through it again. G. Now I'm just playing a G chord. Walk up thing. Then it's C. But I'm basically playing just a C power chord with the octave with my pinky. So C. Then we go up to D power chord. pick the whole thing, and then we walk down. So then lift your pinky, put your second finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and then lift that off so you're barring the 5th fret G string with your first finger. And that's basically a dominant 7 chord, D dominant 7 chord. So that second part of the intro. And then the vocal comes in. So whole intro. The vocal comes in. Basically the same thing. G, walk up. Now we're gonna play a C, and it hangs on it twice as long. And I'm just kind of finger picking that. You can kind of finger pick it, you know, any way you want. But by that point in the song, some of the other instruments have come in. You can't really hear the acoustic guitar as well. So 2 bars on C, then we go to a D for 2 bars, then a G for 1 bar, back to D. Okay, so once the vocal comes in, we got G, climb up, C, 2 bars, D, 2 bars, then G, D. Second half of the verse. G, walk up, C, A7, our A7 chord. Then we go to G, we do this little walk down. It's G, F sharp, E minor. And I'm just kind of leaving my pinky and 3rd finger in that G position. So it's G, F sharp, E minor 7 basically, and then A7 to D. And that's where the drums kick in and we go to the first chorus. And the way I'm picking that D is D open string, then the G string, then the B string, then the E without my 2nd finger down. So I'm playing a high E, which is the suspended 2nd. Then I'm hitting it again and hammering down onto the 2nd fret of the high E string. So let's go over that whole verse. 2 times on the C, C or D, G, D, G, walk up, C, A7, G, F sharp, E minor, G, F sharp, E minor, A7, then our D. Now we're into the chorus. Now you might want to use a pick. It starts on C. We're going to use our kind of alternating bass line technique. So we're going to hit just the root note, just the C on the A string. And then it's a down up. So it's C. Then I'm going to keep my C, but I'm going to move my 3rd finger so I can play the alternating bass line, which is G on the 3rd fret of the high E string, or on the low E string. Then we go to G. And And there I'm going to alternate with the open D string. So it's G, D, G. Okay? Then we're going to do a little walk up to the D. So let's see. We got C, G, so we walk up to a D, and that's G, 3rd fret low E string, 2nd fret A string, 3rd fret A string to our D. And we're going to alternate between the D string and the A string open for 2 bars, and it goes back to the G. Then it does a walk up to a C. So it's A, B, 2nd fret A string, C. Then we go G, B7, or B7 chord, E minor, D, and then C, D, and then we land on the G. Okay, so let's go over that whole chorus. That was kind of quick. So we got C to G. Walk up to D. Back to G. Walk up to C. Then we have G, B7, E, D, C, D, G. That's the whole chorus. Then we go into the solo section, which is C, G, D, and G. Then we're climbing up into the bridge. And that is, so we're on the G in the solo. And it's A7, so you're going to play an A, dominant 7 bar chord, root on the low E string, 5th fret, go up a half step to our B7. Okay? So solo, we got C, G, D, G. Then we're to our B7. Then we go to E minor. So we got B7, E minor. Then we go A7, D, G. Okay, so first part of that bridge. Then does another climb. It's G7, A7, B flat 7 to B again. So E minor again, A7, then D, and make sure you're alternating your bass line there. Okay, so whole bridge. 7. Now we're back to the chorus. C, G, D, G, C, then our G, B7, E minor, D, C, D, G. Then I think they repeat that. It goes back to the D. I think it kind of hangs out there, retards on the D, and then ends on the G. So there's a lot there to kind of take in, but the intro is really the hardest part. Other than that, you're just strumming chords, alternating the bass line, which we've gone over before. And it's just a down, down on the bass note, and then down, up strum. It does that throughout the whole thing. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Take your time with the intro and the finger picking. Alright, and you can simplify that intro. You don't necessarily have to play the bar chords, but if you want to play it like he's playing it on the record, then you need to play the bar chords. So that's it for I'm Gonna Miss Her by Brad Paisley.